Infotech Perfect Pair webinar. Today we'll be talking about how Oracle's Planning and Budgeting Cloud Service and Business Intelligence Cloud Service work together. I'd like to introduce our speakers first. First we have Sriram.
Hey, good morning, good afternoon guys. I've been working with Saturn as an EPM solution architect.
Next is Matt.
Morning. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm the practice director for BI and EPM. I've started working with Saturn Infotech recently. I'm the functional lead on all engagements.
And Janish.
Hello everyone, this is Janish Parekh. I've been working as BI Solutions Architect.
And then we have myself, Nina, and I'm the Marketing Manager. On today's agenda, we'll be talking a little bit about Saturn. We'll cover what is Oracle PBCS, what is Oracle BICS, and then at the end will be a 20-minute demo, and we'll leave some time for questions. So a little bit about Saturn. Saturn is a BI, EPM, big data, and cloud-specialized Oracle Platinum partner. We have a diverse client base made up of Fortune 500 companies, and we've been recognized for fast growth and outstanding management by Inc. magazine and various other prestigious award programs. Saturn's headquartered just outside Philadelphia, and we have offices up and down the East Coast, as well as Chicago and Texas, and we also have an international reach. We have over 250 consultants globally with coverage in nearly every U.S. state. And here are some of the clients that Saturn has worked with.
This is Matthew Gualtieri again. Some of the services and solutions that we offer all circulate around financial management, developing key performance indicators, performance metrics, anything to support your business from non-financial to financial information, as well as maintenance support services. This slide basically is kind of a graphic that shows you about cloud in an enterprise ecosystem, because we're going to be covering some of the cloud-based platforms, planning and also analysis. I thought it was a good informative graphic to show you that these are some of the items that you could have within your own organization, and some of the integration services that we provide kind of fit into this model. As you can see at the top, you have your traditional business applications that are kind of standalone. You have the ERP, which is your general ledger. You have sales, which is your CRM, supply chain and product lifecycle, which is up in our left corner, and people management, which are your HR systems. So this is a kind of a depiction between on-premise and things that are off-premise, which would be the cloud services. We offer a lot of guidance to help cloud fit into your existing environment. So because we're highlighting some of the planning and analysis areas today, just like to go over the high-level planning cycle process. And again, this is very high level because some people go through many more iterations than this and different types of protocols. But for example, you know, in a typical planning cycle process, we start with a functional income statement. It's usually by quarter. The targets are pushed down from the top level to the operating units. So once those high-level targets are communicated to the field, it's your job as the business process owners and other key stakeholders to make sure that those high-level plans get interpreted into an actual, usable, workable plan and or forecast. So those high-level targets are converted into planning drivers. So you can have revenue and expense drivers to produce planning sales, derive planning assumptions, rate, quantity, etc. And then that's where your planning levels are established. So one of the things that we talk about when we look at a planning cycle process is that many of the disconnects occur right at the beginning, because you have a high-level plan that may not match up to the operational reality that you're in. So for example, somebody says, we're going to budget by segment, by quarter, by region, but they don't have any of the detail below that. So now you're stuck reconciling month to month to the quarter, and also figuring out how you're going to fit all these legal entities and the segments into this operating plan so that you can drive reporting results and make decisions off of the information provided. So for example, when we're talking about high-level planning considerations, we look at planning drivers centralized. Are they the right drivers? Do we know what drives a sales unit? Do we know what drives an expense unit? Are they correct? Are they even matching the environment that we're in? Planning dimensions, very important in terms of how they link to reporting, because the planning dimensions that we decide are going to dictate the tempo of our comparative reporting, any analysis reporting for that. So the general rule of thumb is to find out what level that you can live with. If you need to plan at a lower level, that's fine. Report at a higher level. So for example, you would, if you're reporting at legal entity, segment, product line, product, profit center, however your terminology is used within your organization. For example, you could have account detail centers, functional areas. How is that going to roll up? How does that information translate into something that the management can use and I can use? And then finally, one of the key benefits to an online planning solution is, especially with Oracle products, is that we have workflow approval based on business role. So not only do you kind of drive those results down to the lowest level, but the business process owner owns it. You can see who changed it, when they changed it, where the information came from. And then finally, the reporting support actual variance analysis and provides decision support. And that's the end game or the goal.
Thanks, Matt, for such a wonderful explanation about planning and budgeting process. One of the quite interesting facts given by Gartner is that you have cloud is kind of your future. So now, as Matt mentioned about the high-level planning process and what are the design considerations, we'll be going to take a deep dive on PBCS, that's your planning and budgeting on cloud service. So basically, planning and budgeting cloud service, it's a SaaS model. That's the first model ever developed by Oracle that offers you planning and budgeting on cloud. Over here, the typical features of your on-premise Hyperion planning are taken in consideration on the cloud, as well as you get the functionality of connecting this product to all your Microsoft third-party tools. Some of the interesting features that you get with a PBCS environment is you will be getting two environments that are your pre-prod and prod. You can create up a single application supporting almost up to 7 plan types. That's 3 BSO and 4 ASO plan types. The space limit that is available on Oracle Cloud is 150 GB, as well as this models actually supports your Oracle Identity Manager and FDME, that's your Financial Data Quality Enterprise Edition. To look further, let's have analysis on the benefits of PBCS. If you see, the most killing cost for any of the mid-size and boutique firms are your infrastructure cost. So to set up servers and then kind of have IT team to support out that servers, as well as from your yearly basis with new releases, upgrading this environment. That's a big challenge for them. That's your cost benefit you are saving with PBCS, where you don't have to manage any infrastructure or any upgrades or any patching of the system. So not at all any IT cost. PBCS is kind of a finance tool and driven by finance industry only. As there is no installation or no infrastructure involved, so time for deployment as well as implementation of this PBCS, it's quite low compared to your on-premise. You get the same functionality what you are getting on on-premise environment. Data load, there is a ETL tool available included with this package, as well as on the simplicity side, if you look, there is no learning curve for finance industry to take in charge of this tool and handle it from both prospects, not only from IT but from finance also. To go through in more detail, let's just look at overview architecture diagram of your PBCS environment. Over here on the left hand side, if you see, PBCS is kind of capable of taking information from your any kind of source system. So it's a flat file or an Oracle source system, for example, Oracle database, e-business suite, or non-Oracle as your SAP, SAP HR, Microsoft Dynamics, you name any source. It can take information from that source, pull that information, load it into cloud through automate utility, and perform various data mappings on your chart of accounts, departments, channels, entities, and then perform all your budgeting and planning as well as forecast service calculations on top of it. And then finally you can run reports not only on a web-based browser but also in Excel as well as in different Office products. Also with this you are getting financial reports, which are basically your skeleton based reports used basically for your board booking as well as for your PDF reports. To just summarize what I have mentioned, the differences between your on-premise and cloud, that on-premise requires setup and maintenance costing, whereas your cloud is free as there is no infrastructure involved. Implementation wise, cloud takes less time. Currently on cloud there are no out-of-box modules available, such for example your CapEx or workforce. But in near future you will have something called enterprise, which will have all your modules, for example CapEx, workforce, project planning included on top of it. Currently there is no Active Directory integration possible with cloud, but Oracle is working on that, and in near future you will have that also integrated. And there is no access to SBICS backend on the cloud. Now I will hand over to Janish to walk you through for PBCS environment.
Thanks, Shriram. So it was really good information on PBCS, right? So we're going to have a look on the second part of the demo, which is BICS, Business Intelligence Cloud Service. So BICS enables all users to tap into the most pertinent data wherever they need it. With BI Cloud Service, robust analysis is accessible to everyone, from individuals to large work groups across the enterprise. So the BICS can deliver a single source of truth across the organization. So to give you more information what BICS is capable enough, so in any enterprise we can find two categories of users, casual users and super users, or let's say analysts. So casual users need the answers of the same questions every day, like what's my sale today compared to yesterday, or quarter to date, or year to date, etc. And they do need help to get the root cause of the problems if found. Super users or analysts need to find the patterns and get insight into the data of the enterprise. They also need access to do the data mashup and find the correlations between the various data sets. The second portion we can talk is any data. So to satisfy the need of casual users, where they need a repeated analysis to be done most of the time, BICS can deliver the enterprise data model, and that can be shared So let's have a look on the different advantages, benefits you get with BICS. The total cost of ownership is really low compared to your capital expenses. If you're talking about if you're comparing with on-premise tools, so it's some subscription based. It's pay as you go, and you can choose if you would like to go with 1 year subscription or up to 3 years of subscription. And because there is no installations required upfront, everything is done by Oracle, so time to value is really high. And we are also talking about Saturn's pre-built analytics. So based on our industry experience and domain knowledge, we have created various pre-built analytics. So you implement BICS with our pre-built analytics, and you start with at least 30–40% there instead of starting from scratch. The next is, of course, the infrastructure maintenance. So all the installations, upgrades, patching, everything is done by Oracle. So there is no overhead required from any enterprise. The reporting capabilities are delivered to various powerful, robust presentation tools like BI analysis, visual analyzer, dashboards, and even the mobile compatibility. So all the dashboard reports we develop in BICS, they are also accessible through mobile devices without any extra development. BICS is also coupled with powerful data loading tools for end users as well as developers, and it also supports RESTful APIs to connect to cloud-based data sources. BICS is backend, or it's supported by market-leading Oracle database, which is on the cloud. So we also utilize the robust performance of Oracle database. And because the tool itself is capable enough to reuse your existing business logic or queries what you have already developed, and you can easily migrate from legacy tools like Discoverer, Oracle, XML Publisher, BI Publisher, or even Hyperion tools into BICS. And even Saturn has developed many methodologies and tools to help you migrate from your existing on-premise or even cloud architecture to BICS. So here is a really high-level overview of the BICS architecture. On the left side of the diagram, we have various supported data sources. They can be Oracle or non-Oracle, on-premise or cloud, or it can be file-based data. So BICS data sync tool, which is the ETL tool bundled with BICS, is capable enough to fetch the data from all the supported data sources and feed into single source of truth into BICS database, which is our Oracle database in the cloud. So we also can take an advantage of robust database performance. Once the data is populated into BICS cloud, we can utilize various BICS tools like analysis, dashboards, or visual analyzer to get insight into your overwhelming data. So far we have seen how you planning, budgeting, forecasting data, and the BICS can help you create visualizations. So we can also do the data mashup between your data from transactional data, where you collect your actuals, and then we can mash up, or we can consolidate, or we can compare with your forecast and budget all together. So let's have a quick look on the demo of PBCS first, and then we'll have a look on the BICS.
Hey guys, some of the key features of your PBCS environment, probably Janesh will walk you through BICS environment and will show us the adapter that we have built to pull up information from your PBCS to BICS. Okay, so to start with, this is your main console, which you see on your once you log in into your PBCS environment. Now there are two options that are available. One is called your simplified interface. Now this simplified interface is basically available on your iPads, your iPhones, your smartphones. So where you have your PBCS application as a app, and you can move through different task plans, your forms, your reports. You can look at your budget information. You can look at your forecast information, or you can look at through different dashboards. So to give an example,
Let me just quickly open up a dashboard. So in this dashboard, basically we are looking over here with different information provided directly to the user from your PBCS environment. So you are kind of looking at your plan versus target ratios, as well as liquidity ratios in numbers and in your bar chart. Now, based on this analysis, users can start going through their budgeting process, or can start with their forecast process. To give another example of your dashboard, let me just quickly show you the corporate outlook dashboard, which basically shows you the information about your different scenario comparisons, earning per share, your shareholders value at a speedometer, as well as your graphical representation of your baseline acquisition and expansion values. And if you have any specific news that you want to circulate around your departments, you can put that into this breaking news section. So now, to walk you through the other environment, the other look, how your system looks like. This is the other view of your system. So over here, once the user logs into the system, he will see the task list. So task list is basically the number of tasks that has been assigned to a user. So for example, let's say a user for a East department logs into the system, and he will see, okay, these are all the tasks that has been assigned to me, out of which how many tasks I have completed, what are incomplete, what are overdue, are there any specific instructions, or what is the promotional path for this task. Yeah, he will see, and then he can start with the task. So for example, let's say the person starts with his operating forecast. So the company is going to start with the operating forecast process, and these are the tasks that has been assigned to him. So if he goes to the operating forecast, the first task, so any specific set of instructions that has been assigned to this task, he can read it from here, or he can see the status of the task, what has been completed or not. So let's say he goes to the next task, that is your revenue forecast by product. Over here, you are kind of looking at a composite form where you are looking at your forecast as well as your calculated values for working environment for international sales department. So you can actually drill down into your information. You can update your numbers over here directly, and these numbers will be reflected back in your database. So let's say I'm saying that sales for July is going to be updated by 456. You can see immediately the quarter value has been calculated, and it shows a new calculated value. The cell has changed the color to yellow. That means this is marked as a dirty cell, and the information is not submitted back to the database. Once the user hits save, the information will be submitted to the database, as well as you can see over here in the down whatever business logic that was defined, where based on your number of product sales, your units as well as your gross margin percentage will be calculated out, and the result is automatically displayed over here. So now once the user is done with the revenue forecast for the product, he can start with revenue forecast for services. This is more on kind of a driver based system, where the user is going to update the percentage rate. So let's say I'm saying the maintenance support percentage is going to go down to 30% instead of 33%. Once I update this information, hit save, you will see immediately the working 3/4 values are recalculated, and my forecast is reforecasted depending on my new driver rate update values. Similar way, users can start with your head count or their salary forecast. To give one more advantage of your PBCS environment is with your supporting details. So for example, let's say in July month, I'm saying that I'm going to hire new FTE numbers into the system.
So a single PBCS system is capable of handling your revenue, your expenses, your P&L, your balance sheet, your capex, OPEX, as well as your headcount information. So let's say I'm saying I'm going to hire a new FT into the system. So I'm saying, hold on, saying new FTs. So let's say I'm saying some will be hired in HR department, some will be hired in sales, some would be hired in marketing. So let's say I'm saying HR will hire 2 people, sales will hire 4, and marketing will hire let's say 2 people. So now you can see I'm saying that total FTEs I'm going to hire in the system are 8, but I have given supporting details about this FTE numbers, explaining how their breakdown is, and I can save this information, and accordingly the headcount numbers will be updated, their average salaries, benefits will be calculated. Now you can see the color of this particular intersection has changed to light grayish color, which is basically your information giving to the user that there are supporting details attached to it. Users can update cells with supporting details, with comments, with documents, attachments, all kind of different stuff, as well as I can define my change history also. Change history is basically your audit trail. So which user has logged into the system, updated what value to what value, as well as from what time to what time. That information can be taken from here. I can perform logs on particular cells. So I'm saying, okay, log this cell. Now you see that color of the cell has changed to brownish color. That is basically defining that this cell is now under log. And if I try to make any modification to this value, it will not allow me to do any modifications on top of it. Okay. To come up, to move forward, let me show you quickly what kind of structural reports as well as slice and dice capability you get with this system. So these are some of the financial reports that you will be getting with this system. So for example, let's say I'm opening up a balance sheet as well as your account detail report. So this is a live PDF report that is ran on the database, and it will provide you the information regarding your account statements. So this is all my accounts for the top level parent company. I'm looking up and I'm seeing all the information. This information can be presented in PDFs, can be emailed to users, can be set up to go on a shared location or to email. To give another capability of the system is your ad hoc analysis. Ad hoc analysis is basically as your financial users are kind of keen of doing everything in Excel. So this tool gives a add-in which kind of hookups directly into your Excel environment and allows you to free-form drill down, drill up with your dimensions and database of your PBCS environment. As well as not only with this, you are getting another functionality where you can actually open up the same forms consoles that you looked online into your PBC, into your Excel, have all the functionalities that you saw on web over here, as well as you can create your own templates and submit these templates back. So these templates will be reflected back on your web environment. So that's kind of feasible flexibility that you get with PBCS environment. With this, not taking much of the time, I will handle it to Janish to walk you through BICS and then going over the adapter.
Thanks, Sriram. So it was a nice explanation side. So this is how you manage your financials or planning and budgeting data. And then the next step would be you would like to make a visualization and get insight into your financial data. So you can also feed your transactional actuals data with your planning and budgeting and forecasting data and create really wonderful dashboards on top of it. So PBCS and BICS, they are two different tools. So Saturn, we have built adapter or integration between these two tools using the bridge. And so it's a program, or you can say adapter between these two tools, which can be scheduled on your Windows scheduler, and it can be run every night or multiple times a day to refresh data. So this tool is capable enough to fetch the data from your PBCS SBICS environment and feed into your BICS database. So let's have a look on, this is an sample or example dashboard for Office of Finance. So the dashboard is built based off your PBCS data. So we have created various reports here that gives you more information or visualization for your activity ratios by capital. And you can also narrow down your search by applying filters on your entities, on products, or you can also restrict the research for specific years. So right now we have activity ratio by turnover report here, and I'm looking at different accounts and by quarter. So I can also click on the numbers and drill down to that more detailed information. If I scroll down further, so we have created leverage ratio report by quarter, profit performance ratios, etc. To get into more forecast details, we have a design tab here that gives you more forecast information. Again, you have a capability here to restrict or narrow down your search for specific products as well. So balance sheet forecast report is going to show you different your forecast numbers by account and by quarter. The slider gives you ability to view different accounts or different accounts in different visualizations. The cash flow forecast report also gives me really good information here. So instead of having or looking at overwhelming data into Excel sheet, you can bring your PBCS data into BICS and then create real good visualization. The sales analysis dashboard page gives you more information. So sales analysis by account, and then you have your forecast and plan. And we have created forecast variance and plan variance. So these kind of basic calculations can be done as well. And if I'm interested to get into more detail, I can click on the quarter, and then I get more broken down numbers. And you can also create interactive reports like this. So based on the selection on the table, your graphs will be reflected. And we also have a capability to keep track of all the important KPIs right here. If I scroll down further, so I have a product sales report where I can analyze individual account and present it into the tree map, which gives me, instead of reading the numbers, it gives me really good visuals, and I can take a real quick decisions. For sales by quarter, I can also drill down to the capex details right from here and get into the heat map report, which shows me my actual forecast and plan in the same view. We can also have multiple views on the same report, and the users can choose whatever the best way to present it. So to summing up, we have seen today PBCS, where you manage your planning forecast data, and BICS part, where you visualize your data and make it enterprise-wide dashboards. Further down, you can also create visualization using Visual Analyzer, and you can do the data mashup. And we'll be open for the questions now. If you have any questions, feel free to write down in the chat window.
All right, we do have a couple of questions that came in. So we'll start off with, there's one question about BICS. Someone asked, what does the implementation timeline look like?
Sure. So it's a good question. So implementation timeline basically depends on number of sources we are extracting the data from, and also the transformation complexity. But if we talk about standard or mid-level complexity, so we can implement a dashboard with 6 to 8 tabs, one data source in 3 to 4 weeks. And it's also advantage of BICS that if you already have data extraction mechanism done, then we can go live. We can go really quick with BICS implementation in a couple of weeks as well.
All right, the next question we have is, please explain how the PBCS to BICS bridge works.
Sure.
Janish will answer this one.
Yeah, so I'm going to answer that. So we have created utility that can extract the data from PBCS. So there are multiple parts involved. Of course, we are utilizing EPM automate utility from PBCS side that delivers the data into the flat file format, and then BICS can take care of it will take care of the data importing into the BICS. So everything is bundled into one big parent utility that can take care of the entire process end to end. And it can be scheduled, so there is no manual intervention required, and it's also faster. So we have benchmarked the 25,000 of records in around 10 seconds.
All right, the next question is about PBCS. They're asking, how do you handle data mapping in PBCS?
So basically with your PBCS environment, you are getting ETL tool, that's your FDME, Financial Data Quality Management Enterprise Edition, which basically supports out on your data mapping side, where it can provide one-to-one mapping, many-to-one, one-to-many mappings, handled through your different mappings such as explicit, like, in, between, or format mapping. This tool has a capability to not only pull up flat files, but also with Oracle products, it can perform drill down. It can actually launch up your e-business suite URL, where actually you can perform drill back to your source system.
All right. The next question we have is referring to Saturn's various pre-built solutions. They're asking, how can we utilize them?
Sure. So just Janish again. So as we discussed earlier, that based on Saturn's experience and domain knowledge, we have created various pre-built adapters or pre-built analytics. One of them you're already looking right now, the financial analytics. So we have created different industry-specific and even for verticals and for different modules like financials, procurement, supply chain. The idea is to make a really generic data model and work on the data extract part, so we can fetch the data from different kinds of sources. So the generic model is capable enough to adapt the data from any kind of sources. Once the data is fed into certain format, we have data model done, reports dashboard already done, and various metrics are already done on it. So this is how we can utilize our pre-built data models or pre-built solutions and accelerate the implementation process.
Thank you, Janish. Next question is asking, can I migrate on-premise to PBCS?
Definitely yes, you can migrate your on-prem application to PBCS, but there are some conditions that needs to be followed. For example, your on-premise environment has to be after 11.114. So if you are before 11.114, you need to upgrade it to 11.114 or latest, and from there you can directly jump to your PBCS environment. But again, there are restrictions depending on the type of application you have, as well as how many plant types that application carries.
Thank you. Another question for Janish or Sriram, is Workforce and Capex available on PBCS?
Not as for now, but there is again an Oracle Safe Harbor which says probably by end of this year you will have your Workforce, Capex, and project planning as well as airspace on cloud. That will be available by this end of year. But for implementation of your workforce and capex, still they can be implemented on PBCS side with customization.
All right, that's about it for our questions. Thank you so much for joining us in this demo. And if you have any further questions, feel free to email us at sales@saturninfotech.com.